Welcome back to the program. This is Talking Business. My guest tonight is Chimene. He is Managing Director of Eloquent Solutions and identified by the United Nations and many other institutions as a thought leader. Given this position that you have obtained and what you have done to set up your business, a number of people would like to know, how easy was it? How easy was it, obviously, to have been identified and then come up and set up a business? But there are many young people of your age trying, even older than you, who've been trying to set up businesses, but it's been a struggle. How easy has it been for you?
To set up a business, like to set up a religious organization or a political institution, is no easy feat. You have got to understand that you are getting into a system with existing players. And those players, from a general point of view, might not be willing to let you in. So what is important for you is to understand that if you're a genius, fair and fine, that's number one. Number two, you're not the only genius. Number three, you're not the best genius. This becomes important because you have to do your homework. The issue about, let's say, a business background also becomes critical. You might have the best brilliant ideas and many other nice things, but you've got to, number one, sharpen yourself as a leader. Number two, sharpen your concept. Number three, be able to put an efficient system or an efficient team to get yourself into the marketplace, become recognized and acknowledged. The challenges faced will include issues of finances, which will normally come for many young people. But I think one of the biggest challenges, especially in Zimbabwe or in Africa generally for young people, is that the general culture of the African setting does not believe in prodigism. The essence that a young person can actually come onto the table and say something meaningful and contribute something meaningful. This is the challenge. So many young people come up with their brilliant ideas or concepts. They go to the kingmakers of the day or the kingmakers of the industry. And then the people look at your concept and they look at you, at your background, and they just say to themselves, well, you need to go up and grow up. So the understanding that of having to do your homework is equally important. Again, as a society, I think we might need to improve on the issue of academism. Normally, the background we look at is academic. Mm-hmm. To say, what degree have you done? What PhD have you done? Which is not bad. But if you look at in other societies across the world, there are setups and scenarios where they say, the talent, if it is there, let's look at it on the table. They put systems where they put blast furnaces to say, even if you are young, if you think you cut it, go through the blast furnace. If we see you at the end of the tunnel, then you deserve. This is why you find in other places like in the United States, you find a 16-year-old becoming a professor and lecturing at a university. As a society, I think we might still be having challenges to say, are we really prepared to find a 16-year-old lecturing at the UZ?
Do you have real-life examples of yourself, the kind of challenges you faced when you're setting up Eloquent Solutions?
One of the challenges that I faced was people expected me to have a serious academic background because they say to themselves, naturally, Zimbabweans are good at speaking because they're good in English. But if you actually talk to gurus in communication, they'll tell you that this is actually a fallacy. There are people who have gone through even communication degrees, but on speaking as a particular tract might still find challenges. So some of the issues were included in that. I remember I used to attend some high-profile functions, meetings, and conferences, and the person who would be MC, for example, will introduce everyone else in terms of proper accolade and protocol. Then they'll say, this Mr. So-and-so has got so many degrees, what experience and what have you. And that is Walter, he's a young speaker. Anyway, the other speaker on the other side. So, but in any case, the understanding of the paradigm of the industry you are getting in becomes critical. So the challenge that you face, you expect them. And critically important, you can't be emotional, you can't be sentimental. Because fortune in any case favors the brave. So you get into a circle having an understanding of how the industry works. And more importantly, when you meet the gurus of your industry, don't be emotional, don't be sentimental. You should ask the right questions and pick the right lessons. Because you get to a scenario where you meet a guru of your industry, maybe you ask them about the tricks of the trade. They tell you about their experiences, which is important. But then the question becomes, how then do you differentiate between a personal opinion and a professional opinion? So if you go to a guru of your industry and you say, this is my idea or concept, do you think it will sell? How then do you determine if it's a professional opinion or a personal opinion?
How do you do that?
The understanding now, this is where people who talk about personal development have to say, you know yourself first before you let others explain to you who you are. This becomes important because you look at yourself, like what they talk about in personal development, issues of personal powers, your creative powers, emotive powers, spiritual powers, and mental powers. Creative powers being an understanding of how your best ideas come at a particular time of day or in a particular circumstance. Then create a pattern so that in a meeting, your best idea doesn't come when the meeting has ended, for example. Emotional powers in the sense that you understand how your emotions affect your levels of energy and motivation. To an extent where if a key client comes in to make a decision, to say, do you want to sign a for this deal? If they find you coming from home, from a marital tantrum, do you say yes or no because of that? That understanding becomes important. The spiritual power becomes important in understanding of your level of consciousness vis-a-vis your inner being and your superior deity. Because nowadays you understand there are people who are maybe atheists, but they might become serious or potential business partners. How do you appreciate that value system? Then the mental powers issue becomes critical for you to understand, to say, what are my talents, skills, and strengths? To an extent where if you meet someone and they flatter you, you can pick it up. And if you meet someone and they're honest to say, Mr. Mandwanzira, you are my role model, I've read your books, I think you are the next best thing to ice cream, then you can say, I think that's true, because you understand this. This way it becomes important. Then anything else beyond that, you sharpen as you go, you fall forward.
Quite interesting. I'm sure most of the viewers are taking your advice, and especially the young entrepreneurs or those that are keen to get into business who are young, younger than you and even older than you. How profitable is your business?
The local market is still a bit resistive because, like I'm saying, because the issue or the concept is oratory based, and the understanding of our society is naturally we're good speakers. So traditionally, you find that most people will just throw it off at face value.
But clearly, I mean, you identified one point. People are appearing on television to market their products or about to talk about their organizations. But in reality, they're not, exhibiting the same brilliance, perhaps in terms of the profitability of their own organization on a public forum. And that's where people make decisions about whether they should engage or they should go to those companies. So there is need. You said you've identified that need. Why has there not been much uptake for your services there?
The progression has been quite okay, in my opinion, because my understanding is that at times it takes a bit of a while, because this is an oratory-based concept. And more importantly, the scenario where you find many of our high-profile people, who travel abroad, who go to conferences and seminars, who get into meetings or seminars or conferences or workshops, where everyone who is there is a someone. So you stand up and say, my name is Supa Mandwanzira, and I'm a businessman, and you sit down. The issue of posts and board seats and what have you is outside the case, because everyone who is there is a someone. So you find that the need, especially for high-profile people, how they've understood my concept is to say, you will get into a scenario where the kind of ideas being pitched in that sort of setup are high. When people talk about, to say, what leadership style do you have, what leadership philosophy do you have, they're not talking about textbook issues. They're talking about tried and tested mechanisms, and this becomes important. Vis-a-vis the issue of futuristic ambitions in business. When someone says, for example, I would like to become a billionaire, do they understand what it means up here at mental process level? I'll give you an example. One of my clients was telling me that when they went abroad, they went to a World Economic Forum event, and one of the presenters there was Carlos Slimelu, who used to be one of the richest men in the world. I think he's number 4 now. And he was saying that to become a billionaire at mental process level means that you have addressed the mental hierarchies of how you view money. A good example, when you talk about money notation to say $100, it's figure first, then currency later. But when you're writing it down, it's currency first, then figure later. That transition has to be mapped up here at mental process level. More importantly, if you're looking at how we value money, let's say people in business, there might actually be hierarchies to say 100 US, 1,000 US, 10,000 US, 1 million US. So these are some of the issues that people, I think, need to understand in that context. But otherwise, it's actually a profitable business. People, especially who are in other parts of the world, like developed nations, they have seen the need.
So are you planning to take your services outside Zimbabwe?
I've taken them for a bit of progress, just to globetrot and see how the market is. It is very receptive, especially because to them they're saying...
Which markets?
United States and the UK, and the African market as well, especially in Africa, because there's now a boom as a place to say we need young people who are competent and can perform. Okay,
we have to leave it there for the time being. We're taking another break. We'll be right back. My guest tonight, 23-year-old Walter Chimene. Stay with us. We'll be right back.